Everybody's scared. Everybody is fearful of failure. But nobody has experienced adversity like the military. Nobody has faced their adversary with more vicious, visceral, not just anger, but like passion for success for the people to your left and to your right. And I don't know what happens where, when you become a veteran and you're no longer in active duty, where you forget what that feels like. You remember the good times. You remember the experience and the feeling of coming back sweaty and being able to take your body armor off for the first time, and how wonderful that breath of air-conditioned air felt for the first time. But those aren't the things that you should remember. You should actually remember the suffering, and you should remember how scared you were. But even though you're that scared, and even though you're in the most horrific experience imaginable, you still moved your feet forward. You still did what you're supposed to do. And that is something remarkable. But you don't remember that. You have to remember that. You have to stop and take a second and value what you did for the people to your left and to your right, and the fact that you still moved your feet forward, even though everything around you was telling you to stop, find cover, lay down, and cower. You did it. If you set that sword down, if you forget who you were and what you could do, what it felt like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so you could grab a little bit of bite to eat before you go and train for 2 hours, before you go up to work and work for 10 hours training to go deploy 6 months later, where you then deploy for a year, that was the recipe for success was given to you. You just have to believe it, and then you have to do it. When Mattis said, "What's the most important thing that you can do when you wake up?" He's like, "You can make your bed." You learn that in the military. You learn how to do small, incremental decisions, and those cumulative incremental decisions added up matter. And it starts this wave of effectiveness and productivity that nobody can compete with, because we know how to work. We know how to get up early. We know how to stay up late. We know that time doesn't matter, that getting the job done and getting mission complete and mission success is all that matters, especially for entrepreneurs. Like the military and veteran community, you were given this gift of knowing how to do superhuman things. You just have to go and do them. Like a good man, a good person, a good human, a protector, a provider, they're capable of things. A useless person that can provide nothing, that can protect no one, that's not a good person. That is just like a bag of blood that is standing there sucking up the oxygen and the little bit that in the ever warming world that we're living in, just wasting time. Like a good person is something that can do something, that can be violent, but knows when not to be. Like I can walk up to my 2-year-old daughter and she's never known any kind of love besides the love that a father can give her, right? Every touch is gentle. Every touch and word is supportive. It is absolute grace and kindness to this little tiny fragile human, right? But like we know who I am. Like I'll tear somebody's arms off and I'll shove them where the sun doesn't shine if they get near that little girl. But those are two very contrasted, but I can't do that. I can't protect her and I can't provide for her unless I can be this lethal, powerful being on this other side. My first memory ever that I can remember is being in the water, looking up at my dad, who's standing over me as he's letting me stay in the drink to drown. I find out later that was like the 5th time that I crawl over and jumped into the pool, and he grabbed me, pulled me out, crawled over, jumped again. And he's like, I'm just gonna leave him there for a little bit. So he left me there, and the only way I learned to not drown was by my dad leaving me in there for a few more seconds. He's not gonna let me drown. He's not gonna let me get hurt. But the only way that me, who I am as a person, would learn was through failure and through suffering. It is so important. And now in 2022, where everybody wants comfortable and we're complacent. Hard men make good times make weak men make hard times. Like we're living that. We're like, I want hard men again. I want people that are fierce, passionate people. And because I know what success looks like and how you get it and how it's garnered is through suffering and failure and shame. Train. The forging of, that we would grab anything off this table, and every single one of those things was forged through this arduous, violent process. The refiner's fire, you take a thing, and it's an impure, broken, imperfect thing. You stick it in there, you take it out and you pound it. And you stick it back in there, you pull it out and you pound it. And you stick it in water, you stick it back in there and you pound it. And ultimately, it becomes to take a shape, and that shape serves a purpose. You can go and you can cut down corn, and you can feed your family with it. You can dig with it, whether it's a shovel, whether it's a knife, whether it's a sword. All of them kind of are very similar in the process in which they were made. Like a scalpel can save life and it can take life, but it's still forged the same way. So I think humans are no different. Like the mind has to be forged. The body has to be forged. That approach to fear has to be forged. Or yeah, man, I'm scared. Like I'm scared to death, but I'm still gonna put my foot forward and try and be able to do something. And that just doesn't happen. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. So how are you training? Every human is a collection of their experiences, right? Their perspective and their biases and their opinions. Those are all shaped by the things that they've done in their life and those experiences. And one of the many reasons why I love the military and love the veteran community is because their experiences are unique. We're talking about less than 1% of society serves in the military and way less than that in combat arms. So this generation, they see an Instagram photo and they see somebody standing on top of Mount Everest, picturesque, right? It looks like they're nearly in space. And man, so cool. Top of Everest, top of the world, right? What they didn't see was the training of crotch rot, where that person's sweating, in lower altitudes and heat, and getting the bottom of their feet falling off from gross water immersion and exposure, where they have like chunks of their face and neck that are just falling off from the cold weather, or their nose, which is partially missing. They don't see any of that stuff. They just see a single moment. So I think the two most compelling things that shape a person are failure and shame. And my life is packed with shame and failure. There's no one to pass blame on to. There's no one's like, my coaches didn't do this, like my strength trainer didn't do it. It is you. You are the sole person that dictated success or failure. You're the only person that gave you a win or a loss. And it's this powerful experience to be standing there and knowing that the total onus of responsibility is on my shoulders. You take that and you apply it to everything in life, whether it's being a good father, whether it's being a good employee, whether it's being a good entrepreneur and employer, that sole little tiny picture, it is all on you. You either got up early, you either worked hard, you either ate right, you either put in the outlet, or you didn't. And that guy did. It's on you. I have been so blessed to know why I'm here. I am so fortunate to understand my purpose, and it would be a wasted life if I did not stay on course forever.